Namaste to all of you, dear friends. Today I'm going to discuss a very important chapter, that is the role of good food on new age diseases like PCOD, overweight, infertility in young people, and not good feeling factors. And these all people try so hard to get rid of, but there is no definite answer to these problems. And Ayurvedic point of view, I would like to discuss with you all that what we consider that it's the food because of which we can live healthy. And it's not the healthy food, it's not good food, it's not bad food. It's about complete food. And certainly nowadays what we see in our society, because of the lifestyle people have, a lot of patients, they are suffering from obesity, overweight, because we don't do much physical. And what they do, they just cut down their carbohydrates intake. And by doing that, they are not having that complete food. So concept is of the complete food. Because carbohydrates, if you won't take, you might lose weight. But very important function of our body that's going to get hurt, that's going to get destroyed, because carbohydrate is actually source of energy. This is we call brain food. Carbohydrate is considered as a very important factor to control our tension. It's very important to feel good. Carbohydrate is in fact brain food, and glucose is needed for good brain function. So if you are going to cut down your carbohydrate intake, then there is a major risk that you may not feel good. So your brain doesn't function well. So if you don't feel good, if you are not satisfied with yourself, you're going to have more and more food to compensate that, and that way you will gain weight again. And diseases like PCOD, overweight, and depression, patient is going to feel. A lot of patients, they come to us and we hear their frustration. They say they eat less, they eat healthy, they eat good, they eat fresh organic food, but even then they are gaining weight. So here I would like to underline that it's not the good food, it's not the bad food, but it's the complete food. You have to have carbohydrates. You can't just live on proteins. You can't live on fruits only. You have to have carbohydrates. You have to have these fats. You need proteins, you need fiber, you need vitamins, you need minerals, you need water. You need not to forget very important factor, that is the fibers. Nowadays, because of our lifestyle, we use simple carbohydrates, ready-made food, and that is white pasta, white rice, refined food. So these are simple carbohydrates. In simple carbohydrates, you get more and more sugar. That will raise your blood sugar level in no minutes. And what we advise our patient, that you have to have carbohydrate. You should not cut down your carbohydrates. You should take good breakfast in the morning before going to your school or work or office. And you should replace those simple carbohydrates with complex type of carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrates, as I told you, that in simple carbohydrates you have got more sugar, glucose level that will raise in no minutes. And these complex type of carbohydrate that has got sugar, of course, that got starch, and at the same time it has got fibers. And it is a fiber that makes the difference. It's the fiber that slows down the rate of absorption of the sugar in the blood, in the small intestine. And that way, you will maintain a particular blood sugar level. You will sustain that energy level in your body. And that way, that blood-brain barrier, it can cross, and your mind, your brain will get regularly glucose. That is a food for the brain, to think, to work, to make you happy, to make you feel good. So that factor is dependent on the sugar level in your body. So carbohydrates is a must in your food. And that also comparatively with simple carbohydrate, you must take a complex type of carbohydrates because that has got fiber in it. So your food, your complete food, you can't miss them. Oats, whole grain food. You must mix different type of grains. And nowadays, you can find millets with a lot of fibers in it. You have got barnyard, you have got kodo, you have got little type of millets. These are having 7 to 8% of fibers in it. So you have got carbohydrate with fibers. And not to forget, it has got also proteins. So that makes it complete food. So one must replace simple carbohydrates, in other words, refined food, refined pasta, refined white bread, things like that, with oats, with millets, with whole grain, with lot of grains, mixing together and making your breakfast, lunch, dinner with that. So then you are going to get complex type of carbohydrates. So then you can also say that simple carbohydrate, that what you find in white rice and white bread and refined food, in cakes, pastries and things like that, that will raise your blood level very, very quickly. And this whole grain food, where you find the complex type of carbohydrate, that is going to give you very slowly all that sugar required for our body physically and mental requirement that is going to fulfill. And second drawback of having this refined type of food or carbohydrates, that it has got low quality of carbohydrates. That has got not that much nutrition elements in this. And by that, if you will take this low type of carbohydrates, then the body won't get fulfillment with that. And then you have to eat more and more. So that way you are consuming more sugar, and in spite of losing weight, you will gain weight again. And on the other hand, if you take complex carbohydrate, it's going to maintain your blood sugar for a longer time. And it's going to work on balancing your good feel hormones. It's going to work on the hormone secretion. And that way you can very well get rid of PCOD, overweight type of problems. In short, we can again say that it's about complete food. You can't neglect carbohydrate from the food, because this is very, very important. And better you take a good type of carbohydrates. That is whole grain food. Like a lot of people, they say that I take fresh juice every day. I don't take cola or things like that. But fresh juice also, again, without fibers. So it's going to give you so much sugar. 1 glass of orange juice might have 30 grams of sugar. But if you take 2-3 oranges, that has got fiber in it, and that won't raise your sugar like juice, because fiber is going to slow down the absorption. So take the products in its original form. If you want to have fruit, then take as it is. Don't take fresh juice. In place, take apple. So in its original form, it's always better. So that you can say that the complex type of carbohydrates, they are high in fiber. That has got a lot of nutrients in it. And it improves digestion. It sustains energy. It stabilizes your sugar level. And it's very, very important that it will make you feel fuller for much longer time, that you don't feel like eating again and again. And that way you are not going to have extra calories. Moreover, having this type of high quality of carbohydrates will improve your physical performance. So you won't get feel of tiredness. So in practice, we see a lot of people, they say, I eat good, I eat organic, I eat biological, I take this, I take that, but even then I am tired. So these are the factors. What I said, that we have to have carbohydrates, protein, fibers, fats, minerals, vitamins, water, all in good quantity. Yes, you can't have only fats, you can't have only carbohydrates, you can't have only proteins. A role of these carbohydrates is very, very important in secretion of the hormones, that what is needed in PCOD and infertility and overweight type of diseases. So try to bring this change, replace these carbohydrates, and in every food you have to have a sufficient quantity of good carbohydrates. Especially for patients of PCOD and overweight patients, we recommend always replacing simple carbohydrate into complex, and also potatoes in the form of sweet potatoes. And banana is also good for them, because it has got a lot of minerals that makes our body function optimal. So you should avoid carbohydrates. You better change your selection of carbohydrate in your food. I think I've made my point clear. Try to bring change in your food. Replace that with good type of food and see the change yourself. Thank you very much.